Welcome to Be a Voice. I'm Brick Carpenter, and this is Usula Media. Thanks for joining us today. Today, I'm sitting here with one of my good friends and a fellow advocate on the streets for what we do, and even more, Tom Frey. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Britt?
I'm doing well.
Good.
That's very calm for you. That's a very calm hey.
We talked about this ahead of time.
I know we did. I know.
You were happy I ran out of
So,
cough.
and you know, the last name, F-R-E-Y, it is Frey. It's not
Right.
Frey, is it?
It's Fry, yeah.
Yeah. I hear people say Frey once in a while. I'm like, I know him. It's Frey.
Yeah, I don't care.
But
they can, whatever,
I'm an English major. I care.
Okay, I know.
It's
I
important
do.
to me.
I do. I
Those
understand.
are names.
I understand.
You're a piece of work.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm glad you dressed for the day. This is great.
Yeah.
You dressed for the occasion. Why the Michigan?
I dress
one today,
normally.
though? Why the Michigan?
Michigan, my daughter is currently at Michigan for studies in a degree I can't pronounce. Sorry.
What kind of degree would she get? What would she be doing with that degree?
Medical.
Oh, okay.
Like not biology, but she's gonna get so pissed at me. Oh. I save a screenshot on my phone so I can look it up when people ask me.
She got pissed at you for a lot less. Don't worry about
absolutely.
It. You know, it's all
Yeah.
good. She's a freshman there this year.
Yes,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You must be proud. Michigan.
Michigan, yes.
Small town girl goes to Michigan.
Yeah. She's not a big fan of the small town.
No.
Nah. She misses her boyfriend.
And you know, that's sort of she'll get over that real
I'll
quick.
be picking her up at the airport at 4 tomorrow, coming from Miami.
On spring break.
On spring break.
So her first year, she's in Miami on spring break. Not too shabby. My first year on spring break, I went home to Whitehall.
My vacation last year was at a scout camp in Connecticut. So yeah, she's got it.
Good for her. Good for her. And you're a scoutmaster
Yes.
because your son is very active.
Yes.
And how old's your son?
He's 17 right now.
17.
Yeah.
So he's been in scouts forever?
Since a little teeny tiny cub.
Were you a scout?
I was a scout.
You were a scout.
Yeah, hated it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you did. But we'll talk about that in a little while too.
Absolutely.
But I know you, and I could probably just sit here and just bullshit with you, back and forth like this. But for those people out there who do not know you, who are you? What do you do? Give me a little insight.
I'm the director of operations for the Everywhere Project.
I'm really glad you said that because I was going to introduce you as that, but I didn't want that to be your entity.
I mean, I live out of that truck.
Yes,
it's my entity. I mean, it's my passion.
So you're the director of operations for the Everywhere Project, which is a nonprofit that does what?
Street outreach, harm reduction.
Not just that, man. Come on.
Education. Yeah, I mean, what don't we do out there? I mean, we do 2 major meal sites every week. Last year, we did 1.6 million pounds in food, which equates to about 4 million servings. I mean, but then it sounds like you're bragging.
So nonchalantly, like it's just everyday sort of thing. So let's back it up a little bit here. First of all, you're the director of operations for Everywhere Project.
Right.
You go out twice a week.
Right.
To do a major haul twice a week.
Major, yeah.
Major. You set up on a Wednesday night where?
Love Park, 15th and JFK Boulevard.
And what time?
We start serving about 7:30. Depends on traffic.
Oh, okay.
So 7:30 till we run out of food. So usually it goes 9:30, 10 o'clock.
That's why I don't go out anymore. 7:30. My bedtime's only 8, so I'm like screwed.
The older I'm getting, I understand. I think
you're only a year younger than me, bro.
I know,
Be careful with that one. So you do that on Wednesdays, and on a Saturday you're where?
Saturday at 1801 East Clearfield Street, Ruth and Clearfield in Kensington.
Right on the corner of Ruth and Clearfield.
Yep.
And you set up tables. You have team come out. How many volunteers come out with these nights?
How many come out? How many sign up and how many come out are 2 different things. So most groups have a problem. If 5 people sign up, 3 show up. If 7 sign up, 30 show up. We get way more volunteers than what sign up on the website because probably half of the people serving behind the tables are residents, are people that are unsheltered, past guests that now have years of recovery. This Saturday, one of my best friends in grade school showed up. I haven't seen in 25 years.
To help out. So on an average, how many volunteers
and brought a
show up?
truckload of gear with him. You know what I mean? He didn't come empty-handed.
And roughly how many volunteers will show up?
For a Saturday, one site is about 35.
It's a lot of volunteers.
Most days. It really is. But total, behind the scenes that make a Saturday happen is about 73 any particular.
73 volunteers for one day.
One day. Every week. every week. Last week was our 307th Saturday in a row.
307th Saturday in a row.
Yep.
307 Saturdays in a row.
Yeah.
So there was brutal cold. It was like negative 16 out one day.
We were there.
You were there because after you're there, you go over and you take care of the chickens for us. So it's
Yes. Yep.
And I'm very
Yep.
grateful for that. It's like, oh, I feel like Saturday's
Hey,
like a breeze right now.
We do food rescue and food donations to feed. Everybody's got to eat. Our volunteers love to go to the garden and feed them chickens. Like they're sometimes they're like, come on, let's run out of food so we can give the scraps.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
good. It's good.
I love that. But
And one of the good things is we get donations. You know, we get donations from supermarkets and things like that. It might not be edible for some people, or chickens love it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So the we take the box.
some of the
obviously.
stuff that you get might not be something you're going to serve to an individual because it might be a little bit old, wilted, whatever.
Right.
And the chickens will eat that.
Yep.
They don't give a shit. They're
Absolutely.
thrilled. They're happy
Yeah.
as can be. So you've been doing this now. The Everywhere Project came about. It's been at least 4 years, going 5 years. 5 years.
I started in the parking lot at Ruth and Clearfield on May 9th, 2020.
I remember this. You started this when when COVID hit and the
Yep.
pandemic hit, and then that all of a sudden became known as what?
That was, oh my God, I can't even remember
The
anymore.
Love Lot.
Oh, the lot. I mean, the lot itself, the Love Lot.
Yeah, the lot was known as the Love Lot.
Yeah, the Love Lot.
And what did you do then?
I was by myself in a truck going up and down the avenue, when I was able to get up and to serve it on the street. And the city reached out to us and said, hey, listen, we're going to start these food lots. We don't have anybody to do Saturdays. We would love to do a Saturday in Kensington. Would you do one Saturday a month? And I said, I'm with a church. You got to ask them. So they asked them, and they were kind of hemming and hawing. I was like, do it. Let's do it. We could have an organized area where we can put things on a table and people can choose what they're getting instead of just getting a bag shoved down their throat in the street. At that time, they were called blessing bags. The church allotted me, with a lot of begging, like 30 a week. Yeah, I'm going through that in half a day. On my own, just to start and stop it.
Oh, yeah.
But when COVID really hit, some donations came pouring in for it, and then like Fox 29 did a story on me, which was mortifying. Followed me throughout the city, which got tractor-trailer loads of food coming in. And then they would have like excess food from the airport that we would get because they got, they saw me down there serving at the airport. So I was like, yeah. So we started May 9th, and the other churches that signed up never showed up. So I would get a call on Friday night at like 11:30. Tom, I'm really sorry. Can you put something together for more? And that's Roz Picardo did this. She got me into this. And I was like, Roz will make it happen. And the church hated me because I was just, they were looking to do like, God's work. We're going to give out. We're going to feed people. We'll keep these bags in our car.
I know.
I've been doing this literally with my grandfather since I was 9, going to see Santa downtown, And I pushed the limits, and then they did some shady crap, and I reported them to the police, and they kicked me out, and the cooks quit the church. And I said, they were like, oh my God, I can't believe we can't do this anymore. And I was like, you got stoves at home. I'll pick them up. And we didn't miss a week. Did not miss a week. So since that May 9th date, we've done 300 and some Saturdays in a row from that date.
That's just a crazy, 300 some Saturdays. That equates to how many years there,
Yeah. I mean, what's
6 years?
20, almost 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
So, and that's a long time.
Yep.
So, you do this for several reasons.
Yeah.
One of the reasons is you're a person in recovery.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How long have you been in recovery?
July 11th. We're supposed to say God willing, but July 11th, 2011. So I have 26 years or 25 years. Is it 25? No. What year is this?
We're in 2026.
So it's 2001. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, wait a second. You're not 211. You're talking about 22. I even knew that. That's why I was waiting for you to correct yourself, brother.
Yeah.
So
July 11th, 2001. Right.
2001. So you're coming up
a long
on your
time.
25
Shit.
years.
Yeah.
Coming up. That's amazing. That's a long time.
Yep. Yeah.
Long time.
Yep.
What was it that you were doing then? Or what wasn't it you were doing?
There was times I would do anything. I mean, I tried, to prove scientists wrong and inject freaking whiskey. It didn't work. I did go through that whole liver thing. I was a heroin and coke.
Okay.
Yeah.
2001 too. That's, an interesting.
That was heroin.
That was heroin.
That
was real heroin.
Yeah. The shit today scares the bejesus out of me.
That's when people say, how can you go on the streets and do what you do? I'm like, because I see what it does. I could never do that anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't want to touch that.
And it's not for everybody.
No.
And as outreach organizers, we need to understand that. I've seen too many people come out and help the mission and go out again and again and again. And you see it. They will sneak away from the table. They'll come back over. They don't let you know you're gone. It's not, they mean well, but it's not for everybody. Everybody can't do it,
So what was it that led you to recovery, though? What in the 2001 on July 11th said, this is it, enough is enough?
I think I was running out of money. Yeah, I got $1.6 million in a lawsuit from an elevator accident, and I ran out of money in about 18 months.
$1.6 million you got. So whatever the money that you got after whatever, you blew all that in how long?
About 18 months.
18 months. Were you partying with people this whole time? Were you treating the whole freaking township of Abington?
How many heroin addicts have you ever seen partying with people? I mean, come on.
You were partying a lot of heroin.
I was over 4 bundles a day of heroin.
I was going to ask you how many bundles a day does that equate to? I thought 1 bundle a day for me was, like, whoa.
Yeah, I was 4 bundles a day, and my coke dealer loved me, so he would top off some bags, but I was spending about $800 a day in coke.
So you're speedballing it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're doing the speedball to come up, doing the heroin to come down, and daily sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely.
What got you into it? Why? What was that trigger? What was one of the triggers?
Oddly enough, with my childhood trauma, I didn't party with everybody else in high school. I went to the parties, but I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in money and my girlfriend Lisa at the time. Like that was my addiction.
Right.
The elevator accident. I got in an elevator accident. Wound up with MRSA. I was in a wheelchair for 5 years. Those were early OxyContin days, man. They gave you whatever the fuck you wanted, and I always needed more. So.
More is the key to addiction,
I have a pill bottle saved at home with 80 milligram OxyContin. It was 1 every hour with an additional 2 for breakthrough pain. I'm taking like 40, 80 milligram OxyContins a day.
I'm just sort of like biting my lip because it's a lot, man.
And worked. I was in a wheelchair. When I got on the crutches, I'm doing construction work to earn some extra money because I'm fucking crippled. My wife at the time when this happened, our kid was months old. Months. You know what I mean? Like,
this is your oldest daughter?
Yeah, Heather. Yeah.
Wow. 5 years in the wheelchair.
Yep. Yeah, I would have some breaks where I was up on crutches for a while, but then complications and another surgery. It was like 30 surgeries I had in several years.
So it was that accident that pushed you over, but you recognized some trauma prior to that.
Oh, yeah.
You said childhood trauma. Can you share any of that with us?
Oh, I'm very open about sharing about childhood trauma, especially
Let it unload, brother.
Especially with the Epstein list shit. Oh my God, I was like they're fucking Playboy. Between my father and neighbors and teenage kids in the neighborhood would build forts in the background, and it was I don't even remember what age it was now. Probably, I think I just posted about it too, like 78 or 79, 78 or 79, or I was 7 or 8 or 9. I don't even fucking remember what I even wrote. Where I got home one day and my parents said, you gotta go up to your room. There's all these people in the kitchen. There's neighbors and a priest and a cop and an off-duty cop. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? I just bought a slingshot that afternoon. I blew out like 100 windows on the factory across the street from my front door. Just sat there plinking and plinking. So I thought, I'm getting my fucking ass beat. So I crawl up under my stagecoach bed where I would hide after getting molested by the motherfucker in the kitchen. Several of the motherfuckers in the kitchen. And I had my ear up against the air vent, because I would hear that fan blowing, right? That was my comfort fucking zone. Mm-hmm. I can hear every word these fuckers are saying. Everything. He got caught. He was molesting some neighborhood kids.
This is your father?
Yeah. A fucking cop.
Your father was a cop?
He was a cop. 35th District, detectives. He worked organized crime at the end of his career.
And You were sexually abused. You were molested by him.
Sexually, physically, mentally, yeah.
Everything.
Absolutely.
You were abused.
Yep.
You were abused in all aspects of the word by your father.
Yep.
And you found out he was doing to neighborhood kids?
Yep.
More than one?
Two of my best fucking friends. I was fucking devastated. I felt like a piece of shit. Why didn't I help them? Yeah, which leads to today, right? Because I'm trying to help.
How old
it
were
was
you then?
devastating.
10 at the most?
I'm thinking at that time, no, 10 was when it kind of ended. So probably 7, 8 years old, something like that. Yeah, it was fucking horrible. I put that post up and one of the victims responded. And then the messages came in. And it wasn't just my father, like I'm saying. It was a fucking priest. It was a fucking other scout leader. It was rampant, and you thought it was normal until I heard that fucking conversation. I just thought, at 5 years old, I thought, well, this is fucking it. You smile during the day and you get fucked at night. And I don't recall him ever actually fucking me, but there was all kinds of other shit,
Mm-hmm. Right, I get it.
And they all had the same story. They all had the same fucking game. They made it fucking normal, but there was threats. There was all kinds of shit. What the fuck is going on over here? We're thinking, a lot of people are like, how did the mother not know or the grandfather not know? Because it was so fucking normal to block it out. So today I'm fucking, I've had it. Most of my friends that I know, there's a couple people that are left, but victims that I know of, they're dead. They're fucking all dead. And that goes back to the fucking church I started outreach with. The day one of my last friends killed himself from being molested at St. Cecilia's in Philadelphia, this fucker came up to me and gave me a hug and said, I'm sorry, John. John Delaney was his name. He's the guy that broke the whole fucking thing in Philadelphia. The day he killed himself a couple fucking years ago. And he gives me a fucking hug and says, I'm so sorry for you. I'm going to pray for you today. Fuck pray, whatever. And then he molested a fucking seminarian 3 hours later in a boiler room. And that was my departure from the fucking thing. And there is a lawsuit. And me saying this will get me in more trouble. But you know what? They're fucking dragging me on for fucking years. Let's go to court. That's all I ever asked them. I didn't have representation. A buddy finally stepped up. Let's go to court. I'll tell my side of the story. You had me sign a contract saying to protect the entity, not this motherfucker that's molesting people. I found my voice in high school. The only time I ever got suspended from high school was because I called a fucking priest a pedophile. So I know you're fucking kids.
So
11 years later, it was in the newspaper for fucking kids. But good.
So like the age of 10 is when it happened. Your abuse happened to about the age of 10.
No. I can recall back to like fucking in diapers. Like,
but I mean, up until the age of 10 though. Did it go?
The age of 10, I got a little bigger and got a little more weight, and I got mouthy.
Started hitting that pubescent.
Yeah, so, the answer to that was to send me to a cousin's farm up the mountains for the summer.
Okay.
We'll teach this little motherfucker, which was heaven. My Hawaiian shirts. He gave me my first Hawaiian shirt.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So that's where it came from?
That's
from being sent to your cousins up the mountain?
Yep. Like a second or third cousin. He was newly married out of Penn State with his wife, and they bought this like micro fucking farm.
Where was it at?
Oh my God.
But it was far enough away that you were...
It was like 30 miles south of Erie.
Oh, far enough away.
Yeah, fucking...
Across state.
In the middle of effing nowhere. Yeah, it was fucking heaven. I don't even think I've even told them to this day, even looked them up and said, like, you saved my fucking life. It was fucking heaven. And they gave me my first album, too, which was Hotel California. Oh, still my favorite song.
Oh, my gosh.
Classic. But that's where the fucking Hawaiian shirts come from. And not that I always wear them, but I try to always wear them at outreach because the response I get from other people is like a joyous response. What it means, you know what I mean? So yeah, I had a guy came up the other day. I haven't seen him in 2 years. Got housing 2 years ago. He's been clean a year and a half. And he comes there and goes, lift up your hoodie. Haven't seen him in 2 years. I lift it up and he goes, I thought you were going to have a Hawaiian shirt on today. But I had a Scout shirt on because I came from somewhere that with Scouts. So.
And it's funny because that Hawaiian shirt is a trademark. And we both did a docuseries together with Brayburn.
Right.
And I remember when I knew you were in the docuseries, I said to them, they wanted us to show up in 3 different shirts, right?
Right.
I showed up with one. I'm like, I'm wearing a t-shirt.
Right,
That's
right,
it. Come on, I wear t-shirts. How different are they? I'm like, but I bet you Tom's going to show up with 3 different Hawaiian shirts.
Right.
And they were like,
Sure did.
He sure did. So that's
they literally look at me like, Do you have any?
I love to
plain
hear that's
shirts
where
in
it
the
came
back?
from, though. That's sort of symbolic. Then that's a huge symbolic aspect.
I think I've shared that with like one person my entire life.
Well, you shared it with a lot of people now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Now they
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
So the abuse went on, and it's interesting because a lot of this came from the church you talk about as well.
Yeah.
But yet, up until a few years ago, you were still partnering with the church.
Right.
What? How does that work? I mean, when you know this was abuse or you felt this abuse was going on, to still be able to.
Great story, because it was called an old Catholic church. I don't know if it's true. They made it up. They were before the Romans or whatever, but it was an old Catholic church. It was all accepting. So it was the friendlier version of a Catholic mass that was accepting LGBTQ plus.
Okay. Progressive.
My wife, progressive, yes, they were very progressive, except the boiler room part. And my wife wanted to go back to church because we haven't gone to church. We got married at a Justice of Peace. My second wife, most addicts, the first wife don't work. Sorry, Lisa. Still friends with her. Lovely woman. But I forgot what I was.
I've never once heard you say anybody was a lovely person, so that must really be
because
true.
you're videotaping this shit, man. Lisa, we've had our differences. I still do love you. Not like that.
And you're a lovely woman, Lisa.
She's going to murder me, I swear to God.
I'm sorry.
When I say this one, the only money left from that $1.6 million is her boobs. Can we edit that? Shit.
No, we cannot. No editing allowed on
She's
it.
mad at me right now. Anyway, I'll be all right. So my wife wanted to go back to church, my second wife, and I'm like, no, I'm not going back to fucking church. And then my daughter started going with her. And then my daughter's like, Daddy, will you please come to church? I'm like, oh. So I go to church, and I walk up, and you have this big bronze statue there, which is the beggar Jesus from the Vatican. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm kind of familiar with that statue. Maybe we'll see, And then Mass is going on. And it's just like I remember as a kid, where Sister Helena was screaming at me for some nonsense. And, baby starts crying. And the fucking priest didn't stop the Mass. And nobody looked at this kid like, you got to get this kid out of here. Like, it's a kid. That's
They had no crying rooms at that time?
No, fucking let your kid cry. We're together. Fuck it. We're all for one. And I'm like, this is pretty fucking cool. Yeah, I might want to scream a little bit in here. And then after church, they had this beautiful setup down there where everybody bought, potluck fucking luncheon. It was a planned menu, but everybody had a dish to make, which benefits the Everywhere Project today because they make the dishes today. Anyway, they've all stayed with me the entire time.
Really?
Every single one of them, yeah. I'll get to that later. And they had all this awesome freaking food, which a lot of it we still serve on the street, today. And they sat around and talked to each other, And then I saw this guy in the corner that looked terrified of me. And I was in a Hawaiian shirt, and because I was going to make a statement, like, here I am, motherfuckers. And they were like, cool, welcome. And I'm like, that's cool. So Charles turned out that he's also in the LGBT, thing, and he was fucking terrified of me. So then my challenge was I'm going to go every fucking week until he lets me give him a hug. And it took about 2.5 months. I started feeling bad that he was fucking terrified. So, I slowly worked my way over to, I keep sliding down here.
It's all right. It's a comfortable chair.
I'm still friends with Charles today. Our political views are a little different.
Did you ever get that hug from him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. 6 weeks. 6 weeks I got that fucking hug. And I knew he was terrified because he said it in my ear. I finally one time I was like, man, you look so uncomfortable in your ear. Can I give you a hug? And he was, he looked at me for a minute and he was like, this fucking weirdo, what? And I gave him a fucking hug and then that was it. Then we were good friends. He still works at the church, so I can't say that.
So, you were active with the church, and then all of a sudden, things didn't go well.
Yeah, this is what I mean by led back to the boiler story. Mm-hmm. The pastor, the cardinal, the bishop of this area was accused of, trying to rape. Let's not dress it up. It's not molestation. You're fucking raping people in the boiler room. Where, which for some odd reason pissed me off even more because that's where my tools were. Like, he just hugged me because knowing damn well John Delaney died from fucking sexual torture in Catholic school. And he hugged me and then he picked that room Like I did the boiler work there. I had my tools down there. Like he picked that.
Because by trade, plumber. You do
plumber,
plumbing,
right? I'm a
plumbing, heating.
Plumber by trade, right?
Right.
Yeah, not successful. I mean, I'm great at it, but other things took precedence in my life. Yeah, so I mean, like it really pissed me off, and I only found this out. Like I walked in one day, we were supposed to have a board meeting,
Right.
and it was scheduled for a Saturday morning, and like Saturday morning's outreach, So I said to them, if you want me to come to the board meeting, one of you have to come to a meal site, because none of them have ever been there. Not unlike my in-laws who still haven't been there either. And I talked to them about that today. It's kind of insulting, but I'll get over it because for Christmas, they give me tampons and pads and stuff for the street, so they get a pass. Anyway, and they did a hat drive for us for years.
There's a lot to unpack here, brother.
Oh, you need fucking 5 episodes at least. Jesus Christ, to get half of it. I love to talk anyway.
I know. Go.
So I get there that Saturday morning. None of them came out. So I wasn't going to go to the fucking board meeting. I knew they were voting on something and they needed my vote, but I'm like, fuck you didn't show up.
Right.
And I walked by the kitchen and the cooks, looked like their whole world was devastated. And I'm like, what's going on? And our head cook, I won't give her name though. Not our head cook, but our head coordinator for all the cooks, said to me, listen, I just want to let you know we're all leaving the church. Well, she says to me, are you going up to the board meeting? I'm like, no, fuck that. They didn't honor my deal. Fuck them. And she goes, we want you to go to that board meeting. Like it's more important than anything in the world. And I went to the board meeting and I found out that the bishop gave a nice presentation on how he was accused of abusing the trans seminarian, who I didn't know until that moment left in the middle of the night like a week before.
They were living there, right? This was that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they were in the seminary part of the church, living there. And
yeah. Oh no. Actually, it gets better because the bishop now moved a couple blocks away, and was living with his wife at the time. Yeah, and their baby on the way. Yeah. So, and I'm sure my law office is going to be really pissed that I said any of this, but I don't fucking care. Put me in jail. I'm tired. And the evidence that it was an accusation just really lacked any kind of evidence. It sounded like some made-up bullshit that I heard through the fucking air duct under my bunk bed that day. That's what it sounded like to me.
Triggered a little bit, huh?
I don't know that you know what? It triggered my voice. So he turns around and goes, well, we think this one's doing coke and this one's doing that. Isn't that right, Tom? Like looking for me to have his back. And I was like, fucking look at me, man. This all sounds like bullshit. And he even had his wife come on the screen with the kid playing soccer in the background so she could be there for it to support him. And I said, they wanted to vote because the higher bishop cleared it that it was all bullshit. And I went downstairs and I left. I said, I'm not voting on anything today. With this news, you need to leave the property. Your access has to be denied until there's an internal investigation here by these board members with the police. And, that's not happening. We already made a decision. I said, well, I'm going to give you till Tuesday at 10. This is Saturday morning. Tuesday at 10, I'm going to pull in this parking lot, call the fucking police, and file a report. And I want you to come clean. And at this time, the school, parents were freaking out because they heard stories, and they don't know if it's their kid or if it's who the fuck it is.
It's a scary situation.
Yeah, and I'm getting people that were donating the outreach calling me saying, I'm going to burn the fucking building down. Because they won't answer these fucking questions. And I made a public statement on Facebook as a board member.
I remember that.
That there are accusations that were made. Mm-hmm. And I assured them it involved no minors. It happened off hours. I gave no specifics, but enough to be like, it's not you. And I think I gave my phone number. If you have it, and I got thousands of fucking calls. And Tuesday at 10 o'clock, I went in that fucking parking lot and I called the fucking police. And then one of the other board members comes out, oh, he's trespassed. I said, I'm a board member, motherfucker. You're not trespassing me for going to the cops. You can do whatever you want until I get all my outreach stuff. Because at that time, I bullied them into fucking shipping containers and fucking outbuilding. I mean, I used my board. I knew they only wanted me on the board because they wanted to use my ass. So I kind of played them back. And, we lost a lot of it. It's still there, obviously. And they kept all my fucking tools.
Interesting.
Yeah, which really pisses me off. But the like positive part of the story, if you can imagine, is when I stormed out of the meeting and I walked down and changed my attitude to pick up all the hot trays the cooks had made. She says, we only came in to make this for you today. We didn't want to leave you empty-handed. We all decided to leave the church. And they're helping to carry the stuff up. And then they're going to go down and do the dishes, which we borrowed from the scouts. And they were fucking done. And I walked back downstairs and I was like, do all of you have stoves at home? We can keep this going. And we did. You know, I was able, it took them a while to be able to kick me off the property through a court order. Mm-hmm. So I was still able to get outreach supplies every Saturday. They were cooking instead in there, and I already had the food from everybody else. And it was a big game until, you know, it got to the point where my son and I are picking it up, and there's two armed guards, two morons that cut the grass. And not the grass cutters are morons. These guys were morons. One of which has pedophile charges, rape charges against him from years ago, and he did some jail time working in a church with a school. That I would not trust not to kill my kid instead of me if he was pointing a gun. And that's when I was like, we got to just completely cut ties. We snuck enough shit out of here to keep going for a couple weeks. Yeah, we lost our water deal because they had the water deal.
That was a big thing too. That was a lot of water. But
we go through. I mean, 1 million bottles of water plus a year.
Yeah, pallets.
Yeah, I mean, we 6 to 8 pallets a month.
Very interesting though. When I said it triggered you, and you said, I don't know if it triggered me. It may have triggered me to be a voice. Yeah, which is great.
Again, because I've been working with being a voice for a while.
That's exactly what you are.
Yeah.
You have risen to be that voice, and you know whether you like it or not. Because once you open your mouth, you know you can't take that back. You know.
Yeah. No, I get
and people now look to you. And you have become that figure. People in the community look to you for voices on several things. They look for you on voices on the aspect of abuse, all aspects of abuse. And you are very special.
I hope they look to me for that.
They do.
You know?
They do. And you and I'm going to say you know it, but it's also nice to know that there are people that see that. You know, they look to you for on addiction as well, because to have 25 years of recovery is phenomenal, especially with everything that you went through.
Yeah, no, it's a feat. You know what I mean? It's a feat when somebody gets a day. You know, I mean, like people will bash people that are in and out, man. Look, it's a desire to be clean or sober. I don't like the word clean anymore.
I don't use the word clean ever.
I was an NA guy.
Do you tell people that you're sober, that you're in recovery? Or you don't say it at all?
I don't, unless somebody asks me. A lot of people come up and say to me, why you do this? You're in recovery? Yeah, I'm in recovery, yeah. You know, I've been sober X amount of years, which I don't always remember.
Right. Now you will, though, 25.
I mean, how I could remember, how can I forget? I mean, I went to 9/11, to dig people out of the fucking rubble with 90 fucking days. That was my anniversary. I went to my home group. I got my coin. 3 people were supposed to go with me, and I was like, this seems like a really stupid fucking idea. I should not pick them up. And I just got on the fucking turnpike.
You were 90 days into your recovery. You were getting your 90-day coin.
Yeah.
It was 2001. 9/11 hit. You went to New York, and you actually subjected yourself to even more trauma.
Oh, it was fucking terrible. Boy, we got to jump back. The people that left the church to cook for us call themselves the Franciscan Faithful. They cook 100+ trays every
How many of them are there?
Week. Right now, some don't cook every week, some don't, but there's 17 of them. The youngest is 69. The
youngest cook is 69?
Yeah, the oldest is 85.
85 years of age.
Yeah.
And they're preparing how much food a day?
We're doing 40 to 60 half trays every Wednesday, every Saturday.
And how many people does that feed normally?
Well, they're doing this at last minute, right? They prep all their ingredients because our health license says we have to serve within 3 hours.
3 hours at the time, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, they're making it. We have a deadline at our garage in Amber. Like, you have to be here at this time to drop off the food, and off we go. The last thing it gets loaded.
And it's an operation. I mean, they drop the food off at a garage in Ambler. You show up with the truck in Ambler. You pick up the food. You take the food. You transport it to the site.
And that's where we also have our water and all of our new. We basically have a codeless pantry up there. There's 24/7 access in our supply shop where we keep all of our food from the food banks. Yeah, that 1.6 million pounds of food got.
How'd you get this garage?
So at the beginning of COVID, when every church in the world died off and nobody was out there, At the time, I was a chartered org rep for Troop 320 at St. Miriam's. Oh, I said their name. And they had a spaghetti dinner every year.
We can bleep that.
Yeah, I don't. No, no. We need to get to court. You know. I mean, I just whatever. I'm okay. Further.
Good. I wasn't planning on bleeping it.
No,
anyway.
no. That's great. I just forgot where we were at.
That's all right. You were at a court. The garage. We're talking about
The garage.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have a set time. So on a Saturday, I get there at 11 o'clock. So normal Saturday, get up at 5:30. I go to Roxborough, load my truck. No, get up at 5:30, go to the garages, unload everything with the truck. Go to Roxborough to pick up our stuff for the day.
Because you pick up from where in Roxborough?
Small Things, Philadelphia.
Small Things, Philadelphia.
Blessing to have.
And they,
God.
every Saturday.
Yeah, they must hate me because I do a video every time I'm there on them. And Matt is always like, yo, you owe me money. They're great. And we deal with Garden Health for all of our Montgomery County stuff. Another incredible organization. You know, out of the 1.6 million in Coca-Cola, I mean, it just goes on and on. The people that give us stuff, spread bagelry. Hundreds of bagels a week. It costs us a fortune in cream cheese. If you want to help us, we're spending about $800 a month on cream cheese.
$800 a month on cream cheese.
Yeah, because we get these bagels and everybody loves a goddamn bagel with cream cheese. So we go through, you know, sometimes we got to cheat and use butter if we can get that donated. But, you know, it's always appreciated. Water, butter.
Water, butter, and cream cheese.
Yeah, which sounds really strange. I mean, and they
Not to
know.
me. I get that.
And we get the amount of stuff that we get from them, both of them, because they know if they get stuck with something, I'll get it on the street. It's not going to get thrown out. You know, they're going to have to put it in a dumpster. You know, last year, Garden Health, we have a tractor trailer of sliced melon that Walmart denied because it was at 41 degrees and it has to be served within 6 hours. Cliff was my guy, man. At the beginning of COVID, when everybody backed down, Cliff came to a spaghetti dinner for 320 to support. It was COVID. Everybody wasn't coming to this dinner. So I was like, yo, tell people they can donate $10.
That's where your garage is, Cliff's.
Yeah. So I said, donate $10 and we'll serve a homeless person on the street with a hot spaghetti meal from 320. And they sold like 350 meals. I mean, it saved like the Scout fundraiser that year, which is always donate to your local Scouts, even though they're kind of scummy at National right now. Did that voice work? Where did they get a load of me, right? Yeah, so Cliff showed up with a buddy of mine from NA who was on. I was the chair of the Eastern PA Region Narcotics Anonymous for a couple of years before I was asked to step down for doing harm reduction, but that's another whole episode. And Cliff showed up and he's like, yeah, I just want to support, you know, the Scouts and the homeless. He goes, that's two great things. And then 3 months later, the shutdown, I get a phone call from my buddy, yo, my brother-in-law Cliff wants to talk to you. So he called me, you know, tells me, he talks like me, so he told me the whole story how we met, which I remembered. And he goes, yeah, I want to go out with you. And I'm like, dude, you're like fucking 900 years old. It's dangerous, you know what I mean? Like you're at risk. Mm-hmm. And at the time, we thought the people that were living on the streets were the highest risk, which wasn't true because they were out in the open air. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I've done a lot of shit in my life. What the fuck? I'm ready. And he started every day.
He was out there. He was a figure.
I mean, the picture of him on the piano at K&A in the back of a truck will be burnt in my mind forever. You know, and then Sunday Love, they were getting hundreds of meals made every day. I don't know if this is out there, Margot. You don't get mad at me, please. I love Margot Murphy. I said to her, yeah, like we need food, and I see you have donations of food coming in, but you don't have as many volunteers. We'll help you. And she's like, yeah, come over and pick up these meals. And then we started picking up the meals. And then, you know, thousands and hundreds of thousands of meals later, like Margot, you know, her Sunday Love was spread through us at the time. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And we had a family in Villanova that makes our peanut butter and jelly fluff lunch bags. So the peanut butter and fluff, a banana, a piece of candy. It's a whole process from like literally 2-year-old kids up to brother-in-laws that are 75 years old. And they do 200 every Monday, 200 every Friday, and twice a year they do it where they make 1,000. So we're about 150,000 lunches they've made. She was part of Sunday Love, so we were distributing those lunches for Sunday Love. Margot was opening Greater Goods, which is an incredible location by K&A, who also donates to us on Saturdays, the perishable goods that will expire over the weekend. We pick up and serve it on Saturday.
Nice.
So it's a big, you know what I mean, everybody working together. It's crazy. And what we get from her, if she has sweets, we drop it off at the Sunshine House with Roz Picardo. We give them all of our
And all these people have been on the show already.
Yeah.
We've just been waiting for your ass to get here.
I blew you off how many times?
A lot,
many
but
times.
you were okay. You were in the hospital once or twice, and it's all right. I'll forgive you.
Yeah, don't talk about that, man. I don't want to look sick. No, I'll talk about that too. You know, and then it just blew up. Now they're going to actually host Temple swim team coming to their house to do 1,000 lunch thing for us.
Who is?
The Gibsons in Villanova.
Get out of here.
I mean, just so many great people from all over the place. Recently, I just had a high school classmate that's like, hey, we can make some meals for you. Because we get weird shit, right? They know we can get rid of stuff. So one time they were like, we got 6 cases of smoked beef neck.
Can you use it?
And I'm like, fuck it, put in the truck, we'll figure it out. I got old people cooking for me. They must know some shit from the old West times, right? Meanwhile, girl I went to high school with goes, I'll try it, drop them off. On Facebook, because I put it out there, hey, what do you do with these? Send me your favorite, sarcastically, send me your favorite recipe. Worst case scenario, we'd feed it to an animal somewhere, you know. I'd feed the coyote, the fox that's in my backyard. Township loves me. So it just comes from everywhere.
This is 7 days a week for you, basically.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing your scout, because you're also a scoutmaster.
So I get 1 weekend off a month.
and you take the scouts camping.
Yeah, we camp out.
On your 1 weekend off a month from your outreach, you take the scouts camping.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yet you still make sure that the project has everything they need for the weekend that you're gone.
So my best friend that I met in NA with his little kid and my little kid, Gregory, we swap cars on Saturday, and he takes the truck down. And he's there every week. I mean, I suckered him into this. Outreach is just a replacement of another drug for me.
Well,
seriously, you know what I mean? And I'm like a drug dealer. I'm sucking people in left and right, and I feel bad about that, but I see results, and I'm nuts.
No, because you, like myself, you took your pain, we put it into a purpose, we found our purpose, and we substituted it. It's better than a lot of the other addictions we could have substituted it with.
Right.
You know, because people
not always less harmful, but you know, I mean, it takes a bite on the wallet and work and all that kind of stuff.
That's the whole thing. I mean,
and we've talked about that as a million times, yeah.
And I say it all the time. Like, I could spend my money on a lot worse things.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd rather do this. Yeah. But you've done that. You've taken that pain to purpose. You've committed your life. You devoted your life to serving others.
Man, if I could actually make a living doing this
shit. Isn't that crazy?
Fuck.
You know how rich we would be?
Oh my God. I would probably kill myself because I would double the efforts if I was paying.
We might be really savage if that.
yeah, that's, it does happen. Yes, I've seen that. Absolutely. Good, man.
You like that?
Yes.
Yo, I like that. We won't edit that shit out either. But anyway,
I hope not.
Tom, we all have our backstories. We all go through our trauma. We all experience it. If there's one person that says, I've never experienced trauma, fuck you. Yes, you have. Somebody's experienced trauma somewhere. You just haven't either uncovered it, you don't want to talk about it, you're afraid, whatever the case may be. But you have put yours on display for everybody.
Yeah, I get a little flack for this because when I see certain people come out to work outreach for their first time, sometimes I'm looking at them and I'm like, so what makes you fucked up?
Mm-hmm.
Shannon gets very mad at me. Shannon Ash, one of our founders, along with Jen Scheinfeld. I'm just going to call out everybody on this one. I'm not going down alone. She's like, you got to stop saying that. You got to stop saying that. But almost everybody responds. My brother died. My mother died. My father
There's a reason. There's always a reason.
There's a reason every single volunteer comes out there.
Anytime somebody comes up and shows up and volunteer,
yep.
I usually don't ask, right, but they'll tell you. Eventually they'll tell you. And there's a connection. And that's what we give people. We give these people connections. We give individuals connections. We help to spread that word. If two schleps like us can go out there and do what we're doing and people hang on to that word, we're doing something right.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're not just touching, inadvertently, you're touching other lives other than the ones you're trying to touch, and then so on and so on and so on, because then they start bringing donations because their neighbors are bringing them things. And, it's just a whole crazy cycle where you get 70 people to meet on a street corner in Kensington on a Saturday morning, and you get fucking, lunch for $400 or $500. And it's not just hours. People. And Saturdays, like, again, 5:30, unload the truck, go over to Roxborough, load the truck. We load at Cliff's house at 11 o'clock because we have to be going to Cliff's at 11 o'clock because I have to be in K and on the Clearfield at 12 because we open at 1. Takes us an hour to set up. And if it's raining, then we got 16 to 18 tents out there. We have 25 tables out there.
And you went from the parking lot to the sidewalk because the city locked you out.
City locked us out. After years of trying to intimidate us, they finally put up a sturdy fence.
We're having a lot of trouble out there. For people who don't remember, the new mayor, bless her heart.
Yeah.
She came in and just sort of like stripped all the power of all the outreach groups out there.
And took our money. She canceled the scattergood funds.
She took those scattergood funds and she put it into faith-based organizations and whatever. So she really...
Yeah, you know what? Everybody out there, man, you shouldn't have to profess your faith in anybody for a fucking tampon. It's ridiculous. I get so angry out there with them. I mean, I got to have a good reputation for that, too. If you come by the meal site with a fucking bullhorn, we're going at it. Like, I own your bullhorn. Stop it. That just fucking pisses me off beyond belief. Coming from, and when I talked the church into when I was at St. Miriam's, there would be a non-prophesizing meal site. Nobody needs to pray for anything to get a pair of fucking pants when it's snowing. And they agreed to it. And they agreed to include our harm reduction, which we also have on Roof Street currently because there's no space on the sidewalk, along with our medical tent. So we have 300 square feet of medical facilities out there with registered nurses and doctors.
They come out to your outreach on Saturdays?
Every Saturday for 216.
You have triage out there on a Saturday. Basically.
We do, yeah, we can, yeah.
And the reason that you have that is why? Why do you need that? Why aren't you just serving him food and giving him clothing? Why do you need something like that?
Well, currently, right now, on top of the wounds from the actual drugs that they're ingesting, that are poison, fucking frostbite. That last cold snap. Listen, I'm all fucked up with my shoulder because the last cold snap, I fell on the ice outside the library delivering food and water because they were begging for the warming centers, right? So like 16 warming centers day after day. Literally.
These are city-run warming centers.
City-run warming centers. We weigh all of our food in. So we know, when I tell you it's 1.6 tons, 6 million pounds, I know it's documented, So we delivered over 4 tons of supplies to the warming centers in Philadelphia. And I wound up in the hospital with a practically dislocated shoulder because they couldn't shovel the fucking sidewalk. And I have a picture of the ambulance parked cockeyed trying to get somebody off with a goddamn wheelchair into there because it was so bad. Like they don't, and I know everybody sent me a link for some article on Billy Penn today about, them blowing themselves in fucking City Hall again. I don't believe it. I was part of the goddamn people that worked with the city to develop the wellness center.
Yes.
And they invited us for the inspection and grand opening the day after the press and city council. And they led me through a building that was incomplete and the parts that were complete as a guy in construction. Horrible. I literally walked into the bathrooms. I was like, this does not pass inspection. How's this portion open? Oh, no, the inspector came through here. And I was like, you fucking lied. I said, these cannot flop in and out the shower heads. Oh, we're going to fix it. We're going to invite you back out again. Never heard a word from them.
I bet.
That wellness center's bullshit. This mayor's bullshit. OHS is bullshit. I literally have people that like list our meal sites. I call them up for an answer, and they're like, we don't know. We don't even know if we're going to have a job next week here.
I will admit that I think OHS has gone down a lot. That
when you put a turd at the head of the ship, it sinks.
Yeah, well, that's another podcast.
Yeah.
But so the Everywhere Project, which you are the director of operations for, yes, you had the two founders, Jen and Shannon. Jen has been on here already, but more so than that, the Everywhere Project isn't just the food; it's the harm reduction. You are handing out harm reduction supplies, which are safe consumption kits, which are more than that. And people, I think, sometimes don't realize the effect of what harm reduction has on others. You just recently received some grant money from Philly AIDS Thrift.
As an LGBTQ plus advocate, man, like this is the second time we got from them, and it's just fucking.
But why would an organization that focuses on feeding the homeless or those that are unsheltered and those that are afflicted with substance use get a grant from Philly AIDS Thrift?
Specifically for, not to spend on the harm reduction, but because of our harm reduction.
Why though?
The safe use supplies. Because of the reduction of HIV/AIDS.
And I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, if you have a clean, if you have a clean needle and you're not sharing it with somebody and you're able to, you're going to use drugs regardless. Let's make it as safe as possible. And that's what harm reduction is. It's not harm elimination, it's harm reduction.
You're reducing that harm.
And if 40 people get HIV on the streets. Guess what? That doesn't end at the streets, right?
It goes wherever they're going.
Wherever they're going.
And then there's so on and
it's
so on.
It's a ripple effect. It could be, especially with the cuts and all the funding with
Yep.
all kinds of stuff with the feds. I mean, we're going to see significantly higher numbers. And I get to see a lot of those numbers because I'm on the board over at Penn. I'm not going to give a name out because I didn't get permission. But I'm on a board over at Penn to oversee stuff like that. So we see the studies that come out and we see the increases. It's there,
And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think a lot of people think that we're just working with populations that are unsheltered or populations that are afflicted with substance use disorder or mental health, but they don't see that there's also other things that are underlying there, such as, AIDS and HIV. That's one of the reasons that the needle exchange started back in the early 2000s. Actually, my board president, Allison, she wrote that. She wrote the charter for it.
One of my plumbing customers was the health director in Philadelphia at the time.
Well, they're probably
Probably.
Yeah. But, when we hear stuff like that, I think it's very important to be that voice for that as well, because people get a sour taste in their mouth about things.
Yeah.
And they see that we talk about, breadth and depth, but if you see that, the breadth of it and then the depth of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, we go around and clean up the neighborhood before we leave. So we're picking up needles all the time. Have I gotten stuck? Yeah, several times. And, sometimes I've done prep and sometimes maybe I haven't. I do get tested all the time. Not all the time, but I get tested yearly with my physical just because of the work that we do out there. It's an important part. Really.
As a recovering heroin addict and somebody who, injected, I get tested just for that too because.
How much time do we have?
We got a few.
All right. We're talking about HIV/AIDS. I got to tell you the story.
Go.
Jen, you're going to love that I'm telling the story. It's one of her favorites. So I go to my family doctor that my mother worked at for 35 years. Uncle Albert. Sarkeesian, drug pusher, dead.
Is that a song? Uncle Albert?
It could be if I had a voice for singing.
Yeah, go ahead.
My grandpappy always said you got a face for radio and a voice for print. Here we are. Here we are. Jeez. So I go to my family doctor, Uncle Albert, after I was using street drugs, because oddly enough, when they settled the medical case and they gave me this huge check, this raging maniac of a fucking heroin addict. No, I wasn't a heroin. I mean, they were giving me pills. Guess what?
I know that story.
The doctors don't want to write them after you get your check. Once the case is closed, go see your family doctor. He's not writing me 200 Percocet a day. So I went to methadone because I got to get off of this stuff, And only recently did I even admit that I was a victim of fucking Oxycontin.
Wow.
Literally, probably that documentary came out about it. And it was like 2 years after it came out. That's what was on that night. I put it on and I was like, holy fuck, they got me fucking hooked. I mean, like, seriously, with all this recovery time, it was only 2 or 3 years ago where I was like, fuck, they fucked me pretty good.
I didn't realize it either with myself. I mean, after my accident, I thought I didn't. 2001.
That was a smack. I didn't sleep too well that fucking night. Not at all. So I got a methadone clinic. But I'm doing a recovery. I'm just, I was out at the fucking diner really late. 9 o'clock is when they lock the door. I'm fucking like 3 days in a row, 9:01, 9:02. They got the door locked. Fuck you, it's locked. That's the end of it. That's the fucking law. If you get it after 9:01, you'll die from it. Don't let me have take homes fucking forever. I fucking never pissed you a bad piss. They're such cocksucking money whores. Not that cocksucking is bad too. I'm not saying anything negative there. I should use better words. I'm sorry. And then some fucking saviors like, did you ever try heroin? I was like, nah, man, I don't use hard fucking drugs. He was like, dude, they started you on a dose nobody starts on with the fucking levels you were on. Like, fuck you, heroin is going to be your thing. Only a little bit of do you. We're going to give you a match head. And I snorted a match head.
Do it, yeah.
And 12 fucking hours later, I'm in Kensington getting fucking bundles and teaching myself how to shoot up. 12 hours. That was it. From the fucking match head to fucking blown.
That's all you need.
It was crazy.
That's all you need.
And that led it to me, because you asked earlier what got you in recovery was fucking harm reduction. I promised my mom I was going to go into fucking rehab because I had enough, because I had no money. And she's calling me, and she's like, "It's 10 o'clock, Tommy. Where you at?" You know, and I had the fucking car phone, like, with a cable on it and shit.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm talking.
The rotary on.
You know, and my poor fucking blind mother is on the phone with me trying to find my location and why I haven't gone to rehab yet today. And I'm just like, literally, it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I said to her, "Mom, listen, I'm stuck like 2 fucking blocks from the studio, actually. My needle's clogged. I can't. Oh, shit, I fucked up because I was telling the story about the HIV. I'll go back." What time we got now?
Don't even worry about the time. Just talk, man. I'll tell you when it's time.
Edit out stupid shit, would you? Yeah, I promised my fucking mother that I would go to fucking rehab tonight, that I had enough, you know? And I said to her, "Look, the needle's clogged. I'm sick. I can't. I'm not physically able to drive this fucking truck." Same truck I had today sitting in my backyard, unusable, because when COVID hit, I started living out of a fucking box van to do outreach.
I remember that box van.
I'm not my favorite truck. That was my dream truck. That's the only thing I bought for myself from the fucking money. I'm a lot of heroin and coke, but it was that truck. So boobs in a truck. Not bad. It's a good thing to have. And it's sitting in my yard. Like, I don't have enough money to fucking
and
get it
neither of those things
again.
are worth anything to you anymore.
Yeah, right. Oh, my God. That made it worse. No. That's terrible. Oh, my Lord.
Oh.
I forgot what story I was telling you again. Son of a bitch. You get me sidetracked so fast. Oh, they're going into rehab, right? So I'm telling her, fucking, like, my needle's clogged. I can't drive. I don't know what to do. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. You know, she was like, "Can you get out and go look at a street sign?" And I'm like, I can't. So I gave her like a description of where I was at. And I said, "Mom, sorry, I can't do it. I don't know what else to do." Because I already had all my shit mixed up. It wasn't like I could snort it now. It's fucking, you know, you can't drink it. That's not going to do shit for you, bro. I don't think at all. And she called friends and doctors and she's a blind woman. She's given a description I gave. And she showed up in a yellow cab an hour later with a fucking couple clean needles.
Your mom?
Yeah. So I sopped up that fucking bloody ass mess that was in the fucking bowl, shot up, went home, got a shower, went in the fucking rehab. She didn't leave my side the entire time.
That's amazing.
But that was my mother to bring me a fucking clean needle in 2001.
That's your mom.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Really is. So you went through a lot, Tom. You know, I mean, first of all.
Wait. What do you got left on there?
I don't know. I'm
the
not looking anymore.
HIV/AIDS story. So I go to the family doctor. I tell him I shared needles. I need an HIV test. I'm going to give you the short version. So he starts giving me the test. And he has me coming in. He goes, "You sure?" At first he's pissed that I was using a needle, and I'm showing him, blah, 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 blah. Go through the whole 9 yards. After a year of testing and fucking panic, he goes, "What is it? Like, I think you're safe. Like, what is it that made you think that?" I was stealing my mother's diabetic cat's fucking needles to shoot up with. And I came home one day, and my mom's crying. I'm like, "What's the matter?" And she says, "Cat's got HIV. She's gonna die." And I'm thinking, "Oh, fuck, I'm gonna die too, motherfucker. I got HIV." It took a year of testing before when I actually was honest with my doctor. Please be honest with your doctors. He's like, "You fucking idiot. You can't get cats. It doesn't switch over. Like, feline AIDS does not transmit."
You thought you had feline AIDS.
Thought I had feline. Well, fucking, you know, listen, not knowing everything, AIDS is AIDS, right?
You know what, though, Tom, with you, I wouldn't put it past if you ever got that.
If somebody would, it's me. I agree with you on that one.
So, you know, everything. There's a lot of trauma in your life. There's a lot of trauma in our lives. Like I said, you know, you went through some really hardcore shit. You know, sexual abuse, first of all, is just a whole different level. I mean, physical, mental, all type of abuse is a different level. You know, your physical symptoms, everything that you went through with that. If you had the opportunity to go back and...
I bet you wish you stayed at 9/11, didn't you? Okay.
No.
Another show.
If you had the opportunity to go back to that 7, 8-year-old Tom who had his ear pressed against the vent, what would you say to him? What words would you give him to comfort him?
So when I was in my early 20s, one of his other victims and I, who were both going to therapy, our therapist said, "Do you think you could get him to come in?" So I called him up after not talking to him for a long time. I was like, "Yo, Dad, I'm in therapy. You know, can you come in? I just need some help." And this cocky fucking douchebag showed up. thinking he was going to save me and denied everything. That never happened. And I said to him, you motherfucker, I said, the only time you'll be in life is like a family fucking party. Don't call me for anything. You have a heart attack, and I don't give a fuck. Like, you, no fucking remorse, no nothing. And then when a dear friend came out as trans, he had a fucking opinion about that just couldn't bend. And that's when I wrote him off. That was about 20 years ago. It's like, fuck you. Like, you know, like we didn't chat. You know, I think I would send him a text once in a while, happy birthday, Dick. Something like that. So he died a couple of years ago, and you know, his wife, who, you know, God bless you, you know, nobody should die alone, even a fucking predator. Everybody has a little dignity. You know, thank you. I'm sorry I tagged his Facebook in my post the other day. I'm sure that's going over well. I'm sure I'll never hear from her again either. But hey, she hasn't called my fucking kids for a birthday either. But anyway, I wrote him off, and I did. I just completely wrote him the fuck off. So he would send my children a gift, I would send it the fuck back. Like, my two youngest don't fucking know who.
So what would you tell that 7-year-old kid if this yearly event? What would you say to him to comfort him, brother? Think about that. You're avoiding that question on me. I know you are.
Yeah, I don't know what I would fucking say to him under there. I mean, it was just, it was, I guess, I just wish I could have spoke up then. I just wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? But I don't necessarily... You know, people are like, fucking, oh, you're a saint, you're going to heaven, blah, blah. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know, I'm sorry, I'm an agnostic atheist. You know, show me some fucking proof and we can kind of talk. You know, I just don't, you know, just be a fucking voice.
So now that you know, and there are others out there like that, you give them that voice to say, speak up?
You know, I don't want to push anybody either, right? So through my post the other day, I got hundreds of messages from people in the neighborhood, out of the neighborhood, different cities, different countries. I got messages from people like, hey, thanks for fucking writing that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do another one about Scouts, my experience in Scouts with my fucking chubby little fucking fat face in a Scout uniform picture. And then I got me hundreds of more. And I was like, you know, maybe now's the time to push a little harder. And, you know, and some people are like, please don't share anything about this. And obviously, I'm going to respect, you know, your anonymity on everything.
It's not your story to tell,
but,
you know?
You know, it's just like doing outreach, man. You know, people have bad days out there, but they're really nice fucking people. Yeah. And they don't have a lot of friends. And I'm close, and a lot of people out there have my phone number.
So if anybody does want to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can get in touch with you?
You know what?
What's your phone number, man?
It's on my Facebook. It always has been. It's 267-707-1439. Tom@everywhereproject.org.
Tom@everywhereproject.org. So they can follow the Everywhere Project on social media at the Everywhere Project PA on social media.
I think it's just the Everywhere Project.
Under Instagram.
Yeah.
And on Facebook. On Facebook, you're Tom
My
Frey.
Facebook, if you want to see all man Townsend filming, check out Thomas J. Frey.
Thomas J. Frey.
Yep.
And you're a really good ally for people to reach out to. I
spent a few years on the suicide hotline too. You know what I mean? Like, so I've seen good, bad, ugly. I've seen plenty of people die out there. Like, you know, if I'm awake, I'll answer the phone.
When's the book coming out?
Did I tell you this? I had a couple of people actually call me up and say, hey, we should do a book. And a couple of people wrote it up there. I don't know.
Best way to be a voice by sharing the story.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
And I'm so glad we had the opportunity to finally sit down and do this. I mean, there's a lot to unpack in an hour. There's a lot to unpack in an hour.
Yeah, there is. So, like, if you start doing part twos, I'm up.
And I'm going to hold you to that because there's going to be a part two.
Yeah, no, I had a good time. I feel what we talked about was important for people to hear. I really do.
Very important.
And all outreach groups out there, fucking work together for fuck's sakes, and then we could feed people 3 times a day, 7 days a week, and not kill ourselves. Please, fucking stop in your egos. Get fucking rid of them.
Ego's huge. Man. We talk about that.
Oh, my God.
And that's for our part 2.
Yeah.
But anyway, people, there's so much that can be done when you have trauma in your life, when you experience trauma, when you go through things that you think that you're alone, you're not. You're sitting here with 2 people that are living proof that we've experienced hell and back, and we've come through it, not unscathed, because we've been scathed for sure.
Oh, we're fucked up.
But
no, I'm fucked up. I'm not.
You know I am. I just compose myself a little bit better.
Yeah, the English major.
But there is help out there. You know, reach out. Tom@everywhereproject.com. It's a great way to get a hold of him. Tom, thanks for showing up, brother. I love you, man.
Thank you. Jessica, bring your sisters down to the meal site for fuck's sakes.
There you go. You got it. And the rest of you out there, remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. I'm Brick Carpenter on Usula Media. Have a great rest of your day.